wildly consistent for a long time, so I can't really put them in the same category. But I was just thinking to myself, we had a combination of things that led to real, I think, revitalization, rejuvenation, excitement about the teams on the diamond, both of them. As it was a good weekend, a very productive weekend. My mind was kind of, and my viewing habits were locked in to softball and to baseball. I did, by the way, will note, can't ignore this. Florida State fought in that game at Cameron. They did. They fought. They tried. They aren't good enough, obviously, and have been absolutely decimated. But I was curious. I thought when we tuned in, I thought the key. I was sort of the mindset, like, all right, do we care? Are we gonna, put up a fight? Unlike what we saw there in Chapel Hill, which was no fight at all, and a lot of frustration, and it left us sort of bereft of hope, as I'm fond of saying. This didn't do that. This kind of played out predictably, in the sense that Florida State did care, and they were able to score. They did a good job. I mean, 52-41 and a half. I thought they were fighting their ass off.
They were, and
Yeah.
listen, we'll give up a lot of open threes, and we've done that a lot this year, but I thought Duke had to work for a lot of those buckets, especially in the first half. Had to get to some difficult spots. Some of the angles they created were because we forced them into weird places on the court, but they finished because they've got the horses to do that. There are some opponents that if we force them in a half court to make offensive plays like we did Duke, we're probably ahead by a healthy margin at the break, but that's just a really talented team, and we didn't have our best players out there. But it was also great to see, because I've been on the guy, Jalen Worley plays so well. That's really good for his future.
6 of 10 shooting, made shots, looked confident, played with confidence, clearly had been, green lighted. And he played well. Matthew Cleveland played really well, 7 of 13 from the field. I mean, a lot of times when you see him get his points, the box score isn't really pretty from a shooting percentage standpoint. But a couple games in a row now, really, he's been pretty good. Cameron Fletcher, your guy who we're relying upon at some point to be, a viable starter and a scorer and all that. He had a pretty good game again. And, they weren't, let's just put it this way. They were unwatchable previous. This group was not unwatchable. They played, they cared, they played hard. They gave themselves an opportunity to make it interesting into the second half. I know it's a moral victory. I know we roll our eyes at those, but sometimes if you're pragmatic, if you're a realist, you know that when you roll into this game and you're missing 4 starters or thereabouts, guys that are certainly contributors at the very least, you're not going to win the game. And even if you had those guys on the road at that place, you're not the better team. So without them, you didn't expect to win, but you do expect to fight, and you do expect there to be intensity with the way you play. You do expect them to care, and they did this game without question.
Yeah, the baseline of this particular defense for this group this year, whether the 5 starters are out there or not, is lower. We're not as good defensively as we have been in seasons past. So I get it. You could laugh and say, well, that's great, Tom, that they got to difficult places on the court. They scored 50 and a half in college basketball. Well, but remember what we're dealing with here, which is lesser players in terms of overall both sides of the court ability.
Yeah.
Especially as thin as this roster is right now. I will say, though, it seemed like they like playing basketball with each other a little bit more. I don't know if that's an addition by subtraction thing or what, but it looks like that group likes playing with one another. So that's going to be important moving forward. I wasn't kidding when I said a few weeks ago that this is about the development of some of the players that this season is, unless we have the magical week in Brooklyn, this season's about development. Well, for Worley specifically, whether it was the perimeter shot, dribble drive, going left, going right, some of the passes he made underneath the basket.
He looked like the guy that was ranked to where he was in recruiting.
Finally so.
I was like, well, I'm not following these kids in AAU ball. I'm following who we are recruiting, and then I'll look up where they're positioned or their games. I'll look up what their games are. So I'll try to put the bigger pieces of the puzzle together by saying, okay, you're recruiting this guy because he does this really well. He's a pure shooter, or this guy's a slasher, this guy's a ball handler, or this guy is a big. And I'll look at how he's trying to put the pieces of the puzzle together. But when you see a guy is rated as highly as Worley was coming in, you're like, okay, at some point I need to see why that was. I hadn't yet this year. This game is the first game where you went, oh, there it is. There it is. So you're right. That's a big damn deal.
Makes me feel a lot better about next year.
Well, there's a lot of things that are going to happen between now and next year.
Yeah.
I mean, we're all but done talking about basketball right now. I mean, we're making this other than the tournament. I mean, we'll look big picture because I talk about national stuff as well as Florida State specific stuff. But, I mean, this basketball team's not going anywhere. We know that. It's over. This season, it didn't work out for myriad reasons. But that said, we got a couple games to play yet, and plus the magical run they're going to go on in Brooklyn.
Right, yeah.
Back to Florida State on the diamond, where I think really all the excitement is derived from. I have been told this entire offseason, I'm going to get to softball in a second, they stay undefeated 10-0 after the walk-off there. Kaylee Harding with the first pitch ambush, suck it, get you some with the lace double. Beautiful thing. I'll get back to them because they're always good, and this year's no exception. And again, when you think about what they've done, while I'm on softball real quick, when you beat the teams that Florida State did, 5 teams in that Elite Invitational. Hey, answer me this. Is it the ESPN Elite Invitational or is it the St. Pete Clearwater Invitational?
Well, it's the St. Pete Clearwater Invitational, which is an ESPN event.
Okay. Because I call it the St. Pete Clearwater Invitational.
As you should. It's McMullen Booth Road.
It's where we're from, basically. That's what I do. I'm not calling it the ESPN Elite Invitational, although that's fine.
Coachman Lakes, where I grew up. It's a 5-minute bike ride from Coachman Lakes over to that complex.
The point I would make is that when you, and by the way, UCLA is about tired of seeing the garnet and gold. They lose to us yet again. That's what they do.
Heartbreaking fashion.
Well, it's funny. They're 3-11 against Lonnie Alameda. So since she's arrived here, UCLA is just like, well, Jesus, we got to play Florida State again? Tired of this. I'm also tired of UCLA being ranked ahead of Florida State when they shouldn't be.
Well, that had to have changed today, I imagine, unless the polling comes out on Tuesday due to President's Day. I don't know.
You allowed to do the coaches poll thing when we're talking about softball? Probably not.
Is there a coaches poll in softball?
I don't think so. But anyhow, when you stay undefeated and you beat 5 teams, all of whom are ranked, UCLA, Texas, Tennessee, Michigan, UCF, you've earned your undefeated status. It's not a bunch of also ran sorry asses that you're just whooping up on. You're beating ranked teams. Good on them. Back to baseball. So all off season, and I hope you guys enjoyed the interview with me. I thought he was very good, very candid, as he usually is. I thought it was an enjoyable conversation. I almost hesitate to call it an interview. It was just a long conversation. And if you missed that, go to warchant.com. You can find it listed there. Go to the Warchant TV YouTube channel and watch that interview, because I thought he did a good job of vetting the team and talking about what he expects and, areas of strength and weakness and everything else, but also just a collective mindset. And that was on display this weekend. He mentioned the clubhouse in my interview. And then you go watch those games, you watch this team, you see the way they interact with each other. I know that's not the same as breaking down baseball, that it's sort of this nebulous thing, like, oh, they like each other. Well, great. There have been teams that hated each other and won a lot of games. That's true too. I get it. But I certainly think that in college baseball, it's a bigger deal than it is in pro baseball. Pro baseball, I can be the first baseman and can't stand the second baseman, and I'm being paid to do a job, and I'm going to show up and do it. And there's 162 games, and I'm just going to assume he's going to do the same. And we won't have a problem with each other so long as I know you're working hard to do the best you can possibly do. We may not go hang out. We may not talk about the same sorts of things or be interested in the same sorts of things, but we can win. In college baseball, a little different. I always say this about college players in every sport: more subject to the whims of emotion, and you need that group to be close-knit, I think. I think it's helpful, and I think it's also on display there. They're almost obnoxious. Maybe not even almost. They are obnoxious.
Yeah,
they are
certainly
obnoxious.
Not almost anybody who's sitting at the other dugout.
No, they're obnoxious. But obnoxious in a come get you some, here's some what for sort of way. And I tell you, that excites me because you know what it is? And this is a compliment. I may not sound like it. I don't know that I set it up to be, but it is. They are a reflection of their head coach. This looks like the first team that is Mike Martin Jr.'s team.
Are you calling Meade obnoxious?
I'm saying he's a red ass. And I think he would agree with that. He's a little old school in that way.
Oh, he would totally agree with that.
Well, we got into an argument on the air together. I mean, yes.
That was a fun day. That was on my side of the glass, but woo. Well,
it got
a little spicy.
Got a little testy.
I had my finger on the dump button
You're
just
like,
in case it got personal.
It's
is it going to get personal here?
It didn't get personal. It didn't get personal, but he wants to play with an edge. And here's why I bring this up. There's no denying or getting around or ignoring the huge amount of successful seasons, the successes on the whole. There you go. Got it in there. Worked it in. Of 11 and the legacy that he was able to carve out here at Florida State. It's the reason we care about Florida State baseball for the most part. But I did think that there have been teams and there have been years, seasons, specific seasons, where we could have used a little edge to us. We could have used a little nastiness to us. I think his efforts to keep it classy and to make sure that his guys adhere to both the rules and the unwritten rules of the game, the right way to play the game. Sometimes I thought made us a little stuffy, a little too pent up, a little too square, for lack of a better term. And opposing teams, Tom, would chat at us. College baseball players are very chatty, very, very flamboyant.
Yeah, remember the UCF teams from about 8-10 years ago.
I'm like, get your bitch. Yeah, it used to drive me nuts. I would throw at somebody if we were doing this, but that's me. I also think it's meat.
But the funny thing is, with 11, those dugouts were just as colorful with his own comments. If you're ever in the camera if you're ever in the camera well for whatever and sometimes on opening day I would sneak down there back in the day. You know what? I would blush. Like, oh man, I've heard a lot of things
within the clubhouse,
right? But it wasn't over the railing of the dugout. It was usually echoing within the dugout.
But man, over the years, we played some Clemson teams, a couple of Georgia Tech teams that I recall that were really mouthy, that were really on top of you. Like any failure in baseball is a game of failure. It's hard to do anything right in baseball is really difficult. And man, there are so many opportunities to chide, so many opportunities to show up. And teams would do that to us, and we'd take it. We'd walk very quietly back to the dugout while their pitchers, doing backflips after striking you out in the second of a 1-1 ball game. And I would be like, okay.
Like cheerleaders in a free throw.
Yeah, it drove me nuts. But I always wanted to give it back, especially if you had the kind of guys that could back it up, that had electric, in this case, electric stuff, right? If you could shove, as the parlance goes in baseball as a pitcher, and every now and again, especially in a high leverage situation.
We're on the edge on a President's Day today, aren't we?
If you're able to get that strikeout when it matters most, bases full, tie ball game, 1-run game, whatever it might be, their best hitter up, you freeze them, and you want to show a little emotion, do it. You come up with that big hit and slide into second, bases clearing double, and you want to pop up and give it a little what for at your dugout. I'm all for that, and maybe you look at the guy you hit it off of. That's fine too, because in college baseball, it goes on everywhere. Like decorum in baseball is out the damn door. It doesn't exist in college baseball. We used to laugh about it. It was one of the things that we would talk about. Like if you did that in the pros, well, it's not the pros. If you did that in the pros, you'd get hit in the neck your next time up. You would get hit in the neck, and you deserve it, and it's a different deal altogether.
I told you when I was a student, first interning 13 years ago
you
now.
were like, what is this?
This is my number one problem with the sport. Everything has to be a curtain call? Like everything. Really.
Mm-hmm.
A 2-run signal. You get down in the dugout, you're changing uniforms for the half inning, you got to come out for a curtain call? Like what the hell is this?
Yeah.
And I already knew about FSU baseball. I watched it in the 90s. It was on Sunshine Network all the time.
Yes.
So I was very well acquainted with it, but it just, when you get in the building and you see it, you go, this isn't right. But then once you figure it out and understand it's just a different sport. It's a different sport.
Yeah.
Then it becomes okay. And I got to tell you, I watched one of the recap videos on Friday night. It was Messick getting interviewed. And
he's not afraid to tell you about it.
Yeah, that's correct.
Mm-hmm.
And it's being set up. Lane is looking at the camera and he's talking. And as he's talking about the win, Messick is just nodding. Mm-hmm. Like it's almost like a wrestling promo.
Like, let's go.
He's like nodding and he's looking right at the camera. I'm like, oh, man, he does. That is probably an hour and a half, 2 hours after he's done.
Yeah,
and he's still fired up.
He locks in. And he's got filthy stuff. He's very competitive. Hubbard is awesome. Maybe even more electric.
Oh, he's got more bravado.
He does have more bravado, and he's weird on the mound, and that he's so twitchy and He's got this weird routine that just makes I can only imagine how uneasy you'd be in the box. I wouldn't want to hit off of him. He's nasty. And he's not afraid to throw up and in on lefties. There's some left on left crime going out there this weekend. My God. I mean, to be as heralded as JMU's player out in center is, he looked like an idiot all weekend long. I mean, he could not make contact with the baseball. I remember thinking, well, all right, so if that dude's a top 5 prospect, one thing we know, he can't hit lefties. That's for sure. I mean, better not. Don't run him out there just yet against a lefty, because that was hideous. Let's go through this very quickly while I can. Actually, let's wait. Let's save it, because there are some really impressive numbers and reasons to be excited. I don't want to overstate it. It's a weekend series against the team you should beat, and you did. But it's baseball. You can lose to anybody, too, in baseball. We know that. We had a game tomorrow against Jacksonville. Matt Millar somewhere scared to death.
Florida lost 2 or 3 down in Gainesville this weekend.
Oh, at home? Who'd they lose to?
Forget. It might have been Liberty, and if it's Liberty, they're pretty good, but doesn't matter.
Losing 2 out of 3 at home to Liberty, are we?
That's where they are.
Well, anyhow.
They're not 3-0 like we are.
No, they're not. 3-0 with the dominating performance and a whole lot more bat to ball, baby. That's what I said. That's what I wanted to see. Oh, and they picked it up. They picked it up. Bat to ball, picked it up, did things right.
That I wouldn't have put out into the air. The bat to ball, fine, but the other part of it, that's
What, you nervous I jinxed him?
Maybe.
I'll get to those numbers momentarily. It's the Jeff Cameron Show, 93.3 Real Talk Radio and Warchant TV.
Applications, onboarding, payroll, termination. Business owners and managers, you know these are the processes that take away too much time from what you do best. But what if there was a locally owned, responsive solution that would charge you a fraction of the big national payroll companies? Sound too good to be true? It's not. North Florida Payroll Services is Tallahassee owned for nearly 15 years. And in that time, their prices have never changed. The reason North Florida Payroll Services can do that? Exceptional customer service that constantly evolves with the latest technology. From application to termination, for turnkey service for your payroll and HR services, trust a Tallahassee expert and save yourself time and money. North Florida Payroll Services. Online at northfloridapayroll.com.
Were you sold a lifetime of dream vacations only to get stuck in a timeshare with a lifetime of rising fees, point scams, and lies?
I was completely taken advantage of.
They stole from us. They were thieves.
Chuck McDowell, CEO of Wesley Financial Group, has been fighting and winning battles with timeshare companies for over a decade, canceling over 16,000 timeshares, resulting in $257 million of timeshare debt eliminated.
I believe that it's my job and my duty to help people out of their timeshare if they've been lied to and they've been done wrong.
If it wasn't for Wesley, I would be broke.
Wesley Financial Group has thousands of verified reviews, averaging 4.9 and 5 stars for a reason. They get results.
I guarantee if we take you as a client, we will cancel your timeshare or you'll pay nothing.
For your free consultation and information kit, call now. 800-969-5511. 800-969-5511. That's 800-969-5511.
T-Spark Enterprises, roofing and construction services. T-Spark, T-SparkConstruction.com. We conquer all peaks. We fix those darn leaks. Call 850-766-1340. T-Spark Enterprises, roofing and construction services. T-Spark, T-SparkConstruction.com.
License number CCC 1331204.
When you need a plumber quick, how long is an acceptable time to have to wait?
Yeah, hey, it's the Millers again. Just calling you about our little plumbing problem.
2 hours?
Hey, we were hoping you can get here soon because the water is getting really bad. I mean, please hurry.
4 hours?
I know you said you were on your way, but, honey, tell the kids to tread water.
8 hours?
Don't worry about us. We're fine.
At M&L Plumbing, you'll never have to wait long for quality, dependable service, right when you need it. At M&L Plumbing, we listen to our customers, and our qualified technicians aim to achieve 100% customer satisfaction. So the next time you need plumbing work or repairs, think of the name M&L Plumbing, your local plumbing experts, commercial or residential. Give us a call, 850-575-9393, or visit us online at mndlplumbing.com. M&L Plumbing, for all of your plumbing needs.
While other gun stores come and go, Red Hills Arms remains Tallahassee's go-to local gun store for all your firearms needs. At Red Hills Arms, they're right on target. Stop by today and get welcomed in like family.
We all want more energy, more strength, more results. Well, welcome to Orange Theory Fitness as you take a step towards feeling more alive today. Backed by science, Orange Theory's heart rate monitored workout is scientifically designed to keep heart rates in a target zone, spiking metabolism and increasing energy. Orange Theory Fitness is a one-of-a-kind group personal training workout resulting in more energy, visible toning, and extra calorie burn for up to 36 hours. Experience a more vibrant life today with Orange Theory Fitness. To find out more, go to orangetheoryfitness.com.
The Jeff Cameron Show, brought to you by Orange Theory Fitness. 2 Tallahassee locations, Midtown on Thomasville Road and Northside in the Village Common Shopping Center. Online at orangetheoryfitness.com.
A good time of year, man. I'm starting to get locked in a little bit on the NCAA, soon to be March Madness NCAA tournament. Getting a little locked in on where the values are. Tom should have a video up this week for the College Sports Book on maybe some pre-tournament values because you can get some right now.
Is it Creighton by chance?
Well, I've been all over Creighton.
Yeah.
I've had a lot of success with Creighton. But no, that's not where I was leaning. I was looking at some other numbers. Well, early on, like this should be the year that Gonzaga wins. I mean, they're loaded, and if you look at the numbers, if you're going to look at depends on what you want to look at, but there's no shortage of numbers to look at. Let's just start with something like offensive and defensive efficiency, right? They're top 30 in both categories. Whereas Purdue, for example, whom we saw, unfortunately, an elite offense, arguably the number 1 offense in college basketball, suck on the defensive end. They have these terrible lapses, and it makes zero sense given their physical tools. So they're ripe for an upset because I've often said before, if you can't defend, you can lose to anybody. No matter how talented you are at putting the ball in the basket. So, maybe I would fade Purdue in the tournament, whereas I'm not going to fade Gonzaga. But there's what's the value in Gonzaga, right? Well, right now you get them to win the whole thing at plus 400, 450. It was at plus 600, 650 a week ago. It's starting to drop because people really realize the difference between them and a whole lot of other teams. But then you're looking for those other teams, like teams that have good years that are surprising from a lesser tier conference because the college basketball scene is pretty jumbled right now. It's not like, for example, the ACC is not any good. So normally you would see them as a power league that would have several teams that are better than all those middle teams that you kind of tend to overlook. But that's not really true right now. And that's not true of a lot of the leagues. It's like I think there's value on an Illinois, for example, who's got real upside because when they're really good, but they're wildly inconsistent too. So it's fun. You're starting to kind of, all right, let's get our stuff together. Let's get focused. A team that I've done well with this year, Arizona. I've done really well anytime I profile Arizona. Well, I like Arizona. You can get them. There's pretty good value on Arizona. So it's going to be fun. We've got time.
I'm glad you're locked in. That's good.
Well, I'm going to help you out, buddy.
Yeah,
we'll do our brackets together. We'll sit down. Oh, no, Tom. They're not any good at all.
That's right. I'll stay on the rink over here.
Back to baseball. We were talking about it before the break there. Top hitters, if you looked at some of the numbers over the weekend for Florida State. Well, first of all, the top 4 in the lineup, I know you guys saw this stat if you went to warchant.com and read the baseball write-up of the weekend, but they were 9 for 14 on Sunday with 3 doubles, a home run, and 7 runs scored. That'll do some things for you. If you look at also guys you wanted to see if they were healthy, to see if they were right. It's good to see, for example, 40-year-old Reese Albert out there looking spry again, right? Good for you, Reese Albert. Year 9 in the program is going to be your year, your season. But in all seriousness, this guy had been beset by injury. When he was healthy, he was a good player. Then he wasn't healthy, like ever. And it was painful to watch. Well, I know it's one series, but talk about feeling comfortable. Gets to hit leadoff, 7 of 9, 6 runs, 2 RBIs, 3 doubles, never struck out, played great defense. Okay, there we go. There's the guy. That's good to see. And I think for Florida State, if you're going to go through, listen, bringing in Alex Torrell, I mean, he is a beast.
Yeah, that's big
real
dude.
power.
That's a big dude.
5 RBIs on Saturday. Drove in Albert with a line shot over the center fielder's head. Was it yesterday? So what has he got? I think he had, for the opening weekend, I think he had 3 doubles. I know he had a grand slam.
Yeah, the grand slam.
He had the grand slam, but he had 3 doubles to go with it.
That wasn't even close. That grand slam was.
Oh yeah. Well, he's a monster. But this weekend, the reason I loved him is that obviously he's going to tear up that short porch and right, but he hit the ball dead center off the wall, hit the ball to left center off the wall. I'm like, okay.
Well, the difference makers, and I know this just from watching a lot of the pro game too, because in college it's tough. There are different eras. There's the metal bats, so everything is kind of tricky.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you could have a trademark shot 400 feet off the scoreboard and left, oppo, because of the way the bats used to be. But those different players are the ones that look like they get it off the end of the bat or it's not squared up, right? And yet it still is in the alley oppo.
Yeah, it carries.
And that's what he is showing flashes of being able to do, which is, how do you defend that? How do you align in the outfield in order to account for somebody like that? You can't.
You can't. You play him straight up. Yeah. Yeah, you play him straight up and hope that your pitcher makes pitches. Listen, the weekend that was, they only gave up 7 runs total in a 3-game set. They were really a bit of a mess yesterday because, unfortunately, you only got a couple innings out of Ross Dunn, who, he did make it out of the 3rd. So I am told, and we've seen Ross Dunn, but he's got really good stuff. That was about making your first start at Hauser with a real atmosphere. That's what that was about. I think you could see it. Frustration mounted, near misses on 3-2. You're walking people. You're throwing a lot of pitches. He had good stuff early on, but then he started missing. You're putting guys on. You're trying to be a little too fine. A lot of pressure. You're nervous in the moment. You want to make a great impression. Imagine being the 3rd left-hander after those first 2. I mean, after Messick and Hubbard go out and strike out the world, you're feeling pressure to do that. And I just think he put too much on himself. It was interesting to hear Meade afterwards kind of talk about that.
Well, yeah, how it affected his mechanics and they were slower. But then also there's the pressure of what's behind you. That's going to be a tough spot all year long. Got to be mentally tough to be the 3 on this staff because you're not going to take one of the starting 2 jobs, one of the top 2 jobs, I should say, unless there's an injury of some kind. And you've got 4 or 5 other players behind you vying to start on Sunday. Mm-hmm. So there is always going to be a bit of a pressure cooker internally.
That's fair to say.
On that Sunday start.
So if you only give up 7 runs in 3 games, and 4 of those came yesterday, and you strike out 47 hitters for JMU, that is a whole bunch of sucking. JMU just had, that's a rough weekend. And for Florida State offensively, we scored 27 runs and had 37 hits. More bat to ball, picked it up, did some things well. Couple of base running gaffes.
And yet, what I would argue is the at-bat that you have to see in Florida State athletics is not even on the baseball diamond. It's Michaela Edenfield. Because the prodigious home runs.
That is prodigious indeed.
Oh, my. To center field, that is raw power. She could hit it potentially if she pulls one on the street or maybe across the street towards the parking garage. It's impossible to get to the garage over there and left. But that is easy power. It's crazy power. She's only a redshirt freshman, but 6'1" in the softball world. Look out.
They're good. They're good again. Really, really, really good. Fun to watch play. They have good ABs. They are one of the best teams in the country. And they're currently 10-0. And they beat 5 different ranked teams along their way to stay that way. And I just think, that program, this is how good they are. This is how good they are. They are so consistently elite at this point that there's a whole lot of, they're going to lose a game here or there because that's the sport. They're going to have a gaudy record. They've got all ACC, all American players at several spots. Can they beat Oklahoma? That's how good they are, to where you can dismiss a better chunk of the season. And I'm not saying to do that, because you have to enjoy the ride and you have to watch people get better. You have to watch teams mature.
And there's a lot of youth on this particular roster.
That is correct.
Yeah.
So you are going to watch them as they progress, but the potential is there for them to be elite again. They are already proving that by beating a slew of ranked teams and remaining undefeated. You knew that already. I think the commentators were pointing it out yesterday. It's almost as if Florida State's in midseason form. That was brought up more than once.
Well, that was the best part of last night's game. It felt very much the part of an Oklahoma City or a super regional because both of the teams took it very seriously.
Oh, they were in it.
You could see by the way they were taking pitches, working the at-bats, how long between pitches. I mean,
without question.
There was a lot of drama there. The crescendo of that tournament, that was, I mean, a rousing
It's a big
success.
deal. That tournament's become a big damn deal.
It's a huge
It's
tournament.
a really cool thing.
Yeah.
I love it. That sport has come the furthest in my career as a talk show host. It was didn't matter, nothing against the people who participated in it many moons ago. It was unwatchable. I know what Dr. Joanne Graff did here. I understand the legacy and all of that. But that sport, when she was coaching, was unwatchable. It just was. Swinging bunts, a whole lot of nothing happened. It was awful to watch. It's the antithesis now. It is a lot of fun to watch.
It's a power sport.
It's brisk. It's athletic. It's fun. It's engaging. There's a lot of athleticism that didn't exist in yesteryear, and it's infused life in a game that I think a lot of guys, call me pig-headed or not, a lot of guys just wouldn't watch. It was like, I'm not gonna watch this. The dimensions are garbage. What are we, little kids out here? I mean, it was hard to watch, and now you're like, oh, this is exciting. These girls are really talented. There's so much more to the game now than running bunts. It's the strategy of the game is better. The power in the game is infinitely superior than what it used to be. It's played by more athletic people than ever before, and I love it. I do love watching it. And I can't think of another sport that's come further. Of some that have slid back.
Outside of something that's been created out of nothing, yeah. I mean, it's just that sport in general. I remember a couple friends of ours who work in the business, would tip us off that the ratings were higher for softball World Series than baseball World Series, and didn't really get it because baseball was still really, really good here. We hadn't gone through a lull yet. But then once I saw the super regional a couple of years back here,
LSU
against LSU, that was played in the dead of night.
Yeah, that was great.
Oh my goodness, forevermore.
Yeah, that was
Changed
great.
me.
Well, yeah, no, it's exciting. That's all we can do. You can embrace it, be excited about it, enjoy it, and I'm glad we're good at it. Just like I am, obviously. Excited to see if we are back to being elite in college baseball, because I think this team has potentially a chance to be very, 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 very good.
Well, what this sets up for, though, is a springtime where if we've got a home game on one diamond earlier in the afternoon versus later in the day on another one, you can just walk around the parking lots at Doak and campus and enjoy both awesome teams and just make a whole day of it. That's what's awesome to me. Like, the last 5 years, it's usually been kind of softball and maybe a weekend for baseball where there's a big game or a big opponent. But if you have both, the energy that you could feel it from one ballpark to the other.
I agree.
That could be a really cool feeling that I don't think we've had quite at this level. So it could be a fun April ahead, March and April.
Get excited about it. Get very excited about it. And of course, this all marries with us. I mentioned at the outset of the show, we had a staff meeting this morning, and I was so excited, all the stuff we were talking about, because it involved the spring game as well, and spring football starting up, and our coverage of that, and what we're going to do with position previews and some of the things we've already done on warchant.com that you can see the videos of. But, the more that we have planned, the more that we're able to talk about. It saves you from the doldrums. We all got to go through the dead time. But right now, you get into, and then when you want to marry it with the professional stuff, such as the Masters coming up, and, we're really into the tour swing now. So I love that. In particular, you're on the backside now where we're looking. You passed the All-Star break. They happened over the weekend for the NBA. Devastating news: Chris Paul breaking his thumb, out 6 to 8 weeks. That's arguably the best team in the NBA right now. That sucks for them. Will that affect seeding? You start to watch the positioning there. It's going to be kind of fun. Mix in that it's sounding more and more promising that spring training is going to get underway. They're going to work out a deal there. That's important. It's been pushed back some, but I think it's going to happen. I've been worried they're not going to have a season, but that doesn't look like it's going to be the case. And then, of course, as always, as we're talking about all this, then you have the unfortunate situation with Florida State basketball not being in the tournament, but we still love the tournament, and we're not far away from Selection Sunday. So there's a gajillion things to talk about on the Jeff Cameron Show. And you know what? We'll do just that, because we all have a little role to play there, and there's real intrigue around some of these players. It's Jeff Cameron Show, 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV.
Your local news now.
A man in Wakulla County was arrested in connection to a December 12th murder. Stuart L. Monty, age 66, was arrested and charged with second-degree murder of a man. The victim's body was found by an individual lying on the dirt portion of Purified Bay Road in south of the St. Mark's Wildlife Refuge. The victim died from apparent gunshot wounds. Since the incident in December, law enforcement detectives gathered several items as evidence. Those items were used to obtain an arrest warrant for Monty. Early Sunday morning, Tallahassee Fire Department crews responded to a call of a house fire on the 1400 block of Woodgate Way. Firefighters found the approximately 2,000 square foot brick home on fire with flames coming from both the front and the back of the residence. TFD crews forced their way into the residence and were able to put the fire out and determined no one was home at the time of the fire. There were no injuries, and damages to the residence are to be estimated at nearly $250,000. This is Rachel Lene with your Real Talk 93.3 local news update, brought to you by Macklemore Systems, Tallahassee's go-to Mac store. Check them out online at MacklemoreSystems.com.
This is meteorologist Paul Trombley with your Real Talk 93.3 weather update. Sunshine mixed with clouds at times this afternoon, with daytime highs approaching 76. Southerly winds 10 to 15 miles per hour. Lows level off around 57 tonight, mainly clear skies. Daytime highs approaching 80 tomorrow, mainly sunny. Dry with temperatures well above average Wednesday and Thursday, and highs in the low 80s. This report is brought to you by The Lawn Johns. For all your landscaping and lawn care needs, visit thelawnjohns.com. Right now, 74.
You can save hundreds of dollars on your property taxes.
Did you buy a home in Leon County last year? Then you may qualify for homestead exemption. Need to file? It's easy. Visit leonpa.org and click e-file. Mail your application or come by our office on South Calhoun Street. We'll be open extended hours for filing. The deadline to save on your property taxes is March 1st. Visit leonpa.org or call 850-606-6200.
If you weren't the owner of Gordo's and all those wonderful restaurants, Eddie, what would you be doing?
You know, I think I'd want to be I don't know what I'd want to be, a boat captain or a cowboy.
You know how to use a lasso?
No.
You'd have to do that if you were a cowboy.
Yeah, but I've never even been on a horse. It's not my place to be on a horse.
I agree. And the horse thanks you. Gordo's, bringing the flavor and flair of Cuban food to Tallahassee since 1996.
Here's what you missed on the Greg Tish Show.
A woman only identified as Mrs. Wong posted on Chinese social media she had gotten locked down after a first blind date. She discovered that their date's community had gone into swift lockdown after visiting his house for a meal.
This absolutely has to become a romantic comedy. Lockdown Love. He was looking for Mrs. Right, but he found Mrs. Wong.
Lockdown. Starring Matthew McConaughey. All right.
The Greg Tish Show, Monday through Friday, 6 to 9 a.m., only on Real Talk 93.3. The Jeff Cameron Show is a production of the Warchant.com Multimedia Network. Check out Warchant.com today for the latest news inside Florida State athletics. That's Warchant.com. Now, back to Jeff on Real Talk 93.3.
The new receivers that come in for spring football.
That is a big change. You were poo-pooing when he signed.
Well, I didn't know enough. I'll admit it. I've since learned some things that that piques my interest. I don't think my premise was off, which was to say a man has had a grand total of 5 catches in college football.
That can't change.
No. So if I'm telling you that there were 5 receptions, coming in, we're bringing in a guy that's what he's done in college football. It's right to say, well, we'll see. But when you find out more about his level of athleticism, you find out that he hasn't been a receiver or being dedicated to being a receiver anyhow, because he, wanted to be a quarterback. When you find that out and you find out that he's willing to commit to that work, and then you couple it with the athleticism and the size, that's the big thing, is the size, because there's no questioning. Everybody you talk to, everybody that speaks of Deuce Spann, they talk about his speed, they talk about his size, they talk about his athleticism. They say it's all there. All right, well, you can't teach 6'4" and running as fast as he does with a vertical. And if he's going to be locked into being a receiver, the upside potential is pretty great. So it doesn't mean that I think Deuce Spann comes in and is instantly an impact player. He might be. But, Winston Wright's going to be that player. Winston Wright comes in and is automatically the most seasoned and accomplished of the receivers that we brought in. Now, that doesn't mean you're not excited to see somebody more. I mean, Johnny Wilson could be a guy you want to see more because that size is intriguing. I mean, to be that big, if he puts it together beyond just being a blocker and can be a viable, maybe in the slot sort of guy, kind of a pseudo tight end / receiver. I know he's skinny, so he's not like the traditional size of tight end.
Yeah, the full disclosure I have about the Johnny Wilson situation would be that clearly he and Micah Pittman are friends, right? And the receiver position can be one where guys are a little bit more difficult to deal with.
What you think?
Kind of like actors, and where's the trailer in relation to the directors or whatever, things like that. Right. So are they both going to be pleased if only one is making things work and the other isn't? Like, what is that dynamic going to be like? Because I almost feel like they're a package deal, the two of them. And that's a dynamic that Coach Norvell is going to have to work through when you have 4 new guys. Malik McClain's still a pretty good player. And then you've got the old guard of if Keyshawn Helton's more explosive, then he needs to be on the field at some point, not as your primary, but as one of your 4 or 5. There's a lot of things to juggle now. It's a good problem. It's a problem we've been begging to have. But I think that's where Mike might have to earn his money a little bit on the offensive side, is to manage out the personalities, especially if they're all productive.
Malik McClain, 6'4". Johnny Wilson, 6'7". Micah Short, 5'11", I think. I don't have it in front of me. But going back to it, Deuce Spann, who I just referenced, is 6'4", Tom.
With soft hands, even in those 5 catches, you can see that sometimes position changes. You can tell, that dude definitely hasn't played receiver before. He's got hands that look like a receiver's.
6'4". Malik McClain, 6'4". So you see where I'm going here. 6'4", 6'7".
Yeah, you're correct. 5'11" on Pittman.
Yeah. 6'2". If your boy Jordan Young could ever rise up and play a lick of football, he's like 6'3", 6'2".
If he beats out this crop of receivers, then that is a LaMarcus Brutus level turnaround to a career story in Tallahassee.
But even Darian Williamson is, I think, 6'3", or thereabouts, 6'2", 6'3".
Yeah, Winston Wright's also 5'10". So
yeah,
he and Mike are vying for some of the same reps with Keyshawn, and I would think even Pokey do it.
Yeah, but I'm pointing out you have the ability to get big here. If Williamson gets better, and then I mentioned Johnny Wilson and Deuce Spann, and then of course already Malik McClain's a 6'4" guy.
Also what it creates for Ja'Kai Douglas, who's moved to running back / receiver, but primarily running back. He took the number 0 from Corbin. But you think about the matchups they've already shown on film that they can create for him. Well, I mean, heaven forbid you've got a perimeter receiver. Right. Yeah. That can run a post over the top of it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. You could see how the offense might look a little bit more explosive, and you could more consistently assume that it's going to be explosive.
Oh yeah, no, I'm doing this thing where I work myself into a frenzy here, getting excited about football, even though obviously I just laid bare everything that we can talk about on the diamond, the upcoming NCAA tournament in basketball, of course, the PGA Tour and the NBA and all that other stuff. But now here I am talking about this group. This is the singular group. I mean, everybody, we talk about bringing in a grad transfer at linebacker. You talk about all these things, and it's necessary, and you're excited. But I mean, I don't think there's any question. The receiving core is what everybody's most interested in, and we're not that far away from being able to see it. Let's get those early signs that things could be better.
Well, even it's a week from tomorrow. You get the IPF access,
right,
to see the tour of duty, so we can just see the guys in person. Obviously, it's nothing like practice, but it's a first impression and there are a lot of dudes to have a first impression about next week.
Well, it's also fun because Corey Clark has to get up at 6. Well, he has to get up before 6. We'll be over there at 6.
He may just stay up at that point.
It didn't bother me when I found out it was going to be at 6 o'clock. I was like, all right, well, that's fine with me. But then I thought of those that it would bother, and it did make me smile. Up and at 'em. I'll swing on by and get you. I'll have a donut for you, a little coffee. We can watch the sun come up together. He turned me down.
So that'll just be a normal wake up time for you.
I would have, yeah.
Like with your insomnia, you don't even need to set an alarm. Like chances are, what would that be? Odds are,
I get up
9 out of 10 days you'd be up in time to be able to get ready comfortably and go to the IPF.
Yeah. I usually
Like 4:45.
4:45 is a bit much, but I tend to I'm up by 5 every day usually.
That's plenty of time. You'll fly down the road.
Yeah,
I mean,
there's
that's
nobody out on the road. Yeah. And I used to wear it as a badge of honor. Now I don't. It's just what happens when you get old. Everybody does it. No big deal. So what? You get up early. Got it. I know. But I like it. And I love it when I get the opportunity. That's like the quietest part of your day ever. And you can organize your thoughts and you can have that cup of coffee in peace. My kids are sound asleep. They're not making noise. It's glorious.
It just, I never understood it. When I was the age of your boys, my uncle would come down, my late Uncle
He's
Sean.
up at the kitchen counter reading the paper.
I mean, it's 4:15 in the morning.
You see that light come on?
Yeah, because we shared a bathroom, and it was, one of those kind
Yeah.
of like in a dorm. I forget what they're called, but you could almost hear the light. It was so bright in that bathroom. It's 4:15, and you hear, you're like,
Oh,
Uncle
man.
Sean, you have got to be
What are
kidding
we
me.
doing here? Well, when you and I roomed together in Charlotte that first time, and I got you up, I waited as long as I could for us to go get breakfast, and I think it was 7:30.
Yeah, right.
I was like, I waited as long as I could, Tom. Come on.
And how late were we up the night before?
We were up late.
Yeah.
You got to buck up.
No. The game wasn't until 8. We had no pregame responsibilities till like 4.
Got to get some food in you, Tommy.
No.
Got to get some food in you, buddy. Let's
Not
start
if I
this day
keep
right.
sleeping, I don't.
It's the Jeff Cameron Show, 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV.
This is Kyle, Service Manager from Barano Heating and Air. Schedule an appointment from your mobile device to learn about our Total Comfort Service Program. With guaranteed same-day service, 15% off necessary repairs, and $25 berry bucks to use towards air filters and other products. Turn to the experts at Carrier and Barano Heating and Air. Any day, anytime, anywhere. Online at baranoac.com.
Florida license CAC 1816-186. For about 50 years, Paul's Termite and Pest Control has been protecting homes and businesses for thousands of people right here in the Big Bend. And we're quite proud of that. Fact is, all of us here at Paul's have families, and nothing is more important to us than their protection. By providing effective termite and pest treatments, we know we're aiding many right here in our community.
Paul's Termite and Pest Control performs many services designed for the protection of your family and your home. Programs like Pro Shield Complete, which encompasses termite and general pest control in one low-cost quarterly treatment plan. This program is environmentally friendly and is almost exclusively limited to exterior treatments, meaning pests and termites never enter your home. Termite programs like Centricon, a service which requires no invasive drilling or liquid applications. Plus, our lawn care team keeps lawns and ornamentals green and healthy.
Protection of your family, your home, and our environment all are very important to each of us at Paul's. To learn more about our many programs, please visit us at callpauls.com.
For the elimination of termites or any other pests.
And a greener lawn, too.
Call Paul's. We'll get them all.
Refreshing and simple. 2 words you don't hear many people use to describe their experience going through the process of getting a home loan. That's what puts the Hamilton Home Loans experience in a category all their own. If you're buying or refinancing a home, Hamilton Home Loans will provide a personalized mortgage experience that is dedicated to making the process refreshingly simple. It all begins with an initial consultation with an experienced Hamilton Home Loans advisor to find out what your goals are in order to find the right mortgage to suit your specific needs. Then, your personal home loan advisor will take you through all the steps from application, underwriting, approval, and closing, all the way to the front steps of your new home. Once you've experienced the Hamilton Home Loan process, you can be a customer for life and never have to pay lender fees again. For first responders, nurses, physician assistants, teachers, active and retired military, ask about the Hamilton for Heroes program. Personalized attention with your needs put first. Now that's refreshingly simple. Find out more at HamiltonHomeLoans.com. That's HamiltonHomeLoans.com.
Equal housing lender. NMLS number 200719.
There's fun to be had every night at the Corner Pocket. Take home prizes on Trivia Tuesdays and Beer Bingo Thursdays. And kickstart your weekend with Martini Fridays. Plus, happy hour runs every weekday and game day specials every time the Noles take the field. Watch all the best games at the Corner Pocket's Vegas Wall, featuring 560 inches of flat screen TV heaven.
Oh, really?
The best food, the best drinks, and the best place to watch all the games. Tallahassee loves the Corner Pocket.
Cameron Show brought to you by Orange Theory Fitness, 2 Tallahassee locations, Midtown on Thomasville Road and Northside in the Village Common Shopping Center. Online at orangetheoryfitness.com.
Interest at heart. At T-Spark Enterprises Roofing and Construction, they believe in doing things the right way and the safe way. Employees undergo regular safety training and are constantly being educated on new techniques and new materials, like becoming master metal applicators. Woohoo! Like that. It's the band. That's our offshoot of a band. Oh, I heard master metal applicators are playing tonight. Club Down Under. What? Well, that's really... Anyhow, sorry. Have you considered a new metal roof before? Long-lasting and durable? You're in luck. T-Spark Enterprises Roofing and Construction are the best in town, period. Call them today, 766-1340, or get a free quote today at tsparkconstruction.com.
It's the only small venue they play, just because it's their hometown.
Yeah. People don't know, but that's really... Oh, man. Did you watch Juwan Howard?
After the fact, after he went viral.
That's the second time my man's had an issue. Come on, Juwan, get some rest.
I can understand the Mark Turgeon issue previous.
Because he's impossible.
And it seems like this guy is also, you don't
Calling
have to stop him.
timeout, yeah.
You don't, if he's going to play
get-
press, no, that's BS. I think he did press.
Well, the other part of it, you heard why, right? He had put all of his backups in. He had his backups in for some time. But they had 4 seconds to get the ball across the line. So he wanted to reset the 10-second clock by calling timeout and doing that so that the backups weren't rushed to get the ball over the timeline.
Yeah, what I'm saying too is Juwan was playing press in that situation.
Yeah.
Just let him dribble it up and be done with it.
Yeah.
But, you can never do what he did, of course. But if you're going to get stopped and somebody puts their hands on you to stop you, you've escalated the situation.
Well, but I don't know who's to blame. I'm sure he's not the only one to blame. But I know that's the second such incident. He hadn't been a coach long.
It's also, that was very NBA fight mode.
Oh, yeah, nobody really
there's
wanted to
4
fight.
dudes in front of you. Then you don't punch them. You kind of grab, smack them. I don't even know what I would call that. And then you're gone. Like, after that happens, there's no accountability for it. Like, that's something that I remember Melo doing way back in the day. But it's also just, I don't know. That's Michigan falling apart, man. It's just all of it. That program was the toast of college basketball when he had his opening press conference because he was moved so deeply to be a part of the program as the head man. And now look at it.
Yeah. That's a weird team. I because I've had to pay attention to the Big Ten in particular. A, it's a good league, and B, I've had to obviously know about which side of the fence to lean towards on a given weekend or a week matchup for the college sports book. They're a weird team. I don't really mess with Michigan because they're talented enough to beat a lot of people, but they don't play that way. And so it's kind of like, I'm going to leave you alone. You bother me. You are hard to get a handle on.
No.
That's really hard. You get, it's aggravating. I know at the end of the show, we do this. I am kind of curious because I've did the once over, the gleaning, if you will. By the way, we got a good game tonight, Arizona State and UCLA, which is, it's a good, if you're going to be up late, it's a good West Coast game. What do you think, NHL, real quick, where we're at here? 2, 3, give me 2, 3 best bets right now. If you had to pick the best team to win the cup.
To win the cup?
Win a cup, not a game, not a bet. Just
Florida, Tampa, Carolina. Yeah.
You believe in Carolina?
I do.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't believe in their goaltending, but
No.
I believe in the way they play the game, the way that you need to play the game in order to advance in the playoffs. And that half that they're on is easier. They don't have to see us till the Eastern Conference Finals, either us or
Where
Florida.
they'll get beat if they do.
Florida's impressive.
Yeah.
And Colorado at some point, but the problem is that they've got that kind of thing now, the stigma, like they're just going to be awesome in the regular season and joke.
I just wanted to get a sense of that as we went to break. Hour number 2 forthcoming. Stay with us. Jeff Cameron Show, 93.3 Real Talk Radio and Warchant TV.
Up next, more of the Jeff Cameron Show, live and local on Real Talk 93.3 WVFT, Gretna, Tallahassee.
News this hour from townhall.com. I'm Jason Walker. Russian President Vladimir Putin convening top officials to consider recognizing the independence of separatist nations and regions, in eastern Ukraine. Charles Deladesma has more.
In a speech, Putin says the goal of the meeting today is to listen to our colleagues and map out our next moves in this matter, meaning both the requests by the leaders of the Donetsk People's Republic and Luhansk People's Republic to Russia, asking to recognize their sovereignty. Leaders of the region had released televised statements pleading with Putin to acknowledge them as independent states and sign friendship treaties, envisaging military aid to protect them from what they describe as an ongoing Ukrainian military offensive. I'm Charles de Ledesma.
U.S. warning that Moscow has already decided to invade. Still, the American and Russian presidents have tentatively agreed to a possible meeting that, in what the State Department has said, is a last-ditch effort to avoid war in the region. Also at townhall.com. Now, if you think it's costing more to tank up your vehicle this day and age, you would be correct. Average price, the highest since 2014.
The pain at the pump continues.
The national average is up close to 4 cents a gallon in the last week. It now stands at $3.52 a gallon.
And senior petroleum analyst Patrick DeHaan with GasBuddy.com says, brace yourself since motorists don't just have tensions with Russia to worry about.
The switch over to summer gasoline will also cost motorists at the pump in the months ahead as the nation transitions to more expensive summer gasoline. In addition, gasoline demand is starting to rise, not only in the U.S., but globally as COVID cases come down and Americans hit the road ahead of spring break.
I'm Shelley Adler.
More on these stories at townhall.com.
Your pets have the same energy they used to? Do they have problems with itching, scratching, a dull coat, or goopy ears? Then your pets need Dinovite.
DINOVITE.com.
For over 20 years, pet owners have trusted Dinovite to supplement their pet's diet.
We started Dinovite, and in our first stock, we noticed a difference.
Dinovite is an all-natural daily supplement made from whole foods that help support your pet's immune system, digestion, skin, and coat.
Within 3 weeks, he's not scratching and itching, and he's an all-around happier dog.
Today's commercial pet foods are processed at high temperatures, which bakes out all the essential goodness. These processed foods can lack the essential vitamins, enzymes, and probiotics that contribute to overall good health. Adding a scoop of Dinovite to your pet's food bowl is the answer.
If you love your pets as much as I do, you'll want to do what's best for them to live long, healthy, happy lives.
I have 2 cats and 2 dogs. All 4 of them are on the Dinovite.
You won't believe how happy your dog will be.
DINOVITE.com.
The weather is unpredictable and can cause issues around your home. Weston Trawick provides commercial, residential, and industrial electrical wiring services, yearly inspections on fire alarms, portable generator sales, and so much more. With 24/7 emergency service and repair, Weston Trawick will be your calm in the storm. Give them a call at 514-0003. Weston Trawick, professional electrical services day or night. Visit online at westontrawick.com.
We all want more energy, more strength, more results. Well, welcome to Orange Theory Fitness as you take a step towards feeling more alive today. Backed by science, Orange Theory's heart rate monitored workout is scientifically designed to keep heart rates in a target zone, spiking metabolism and increasing energy. Orange Theory Fitness is a one-of-a-kind group personal training workout resulting in more energy, visible toning, and extra calorie burn for up to 36 hours. Experience a more vibrant life today with Orange Theory Fitness. To find out more, go to orangetheoryfitness.com.
Broadcasting live from Florida's capital city, this is the Jeff Cameron Show, brought to you by Orange Theory Fitness on Real Talk 93.3. Now, stop what you're doing and listen closely. It's time for the Jeff Cameron Show in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
enjoying the weekend that was with the weather and going over to Hauser and then watching this baseball team, watching our softball team down at St. Pete Clearwater kick ass. Watching what I thought was, and I documented this last hour, talked about it a little bit, what I thought was a game effort on Saturday against Duke. I thought they showed up. I thought, look, they were unarmed in a lot of ways, but they played hard. Obviously, without Malik Osborne, Anthony Polite, Naheem McLeod, no Caleb Mills, without Raekwon Evans, and he had 2 quick fouls in this game for John Butler. You're like, oh well, this is what I started to think at one point. This was going to be a 50-point ass kick, and when Butler had to be pulled because of the 2 fouls, like $1:20 into the game, like, well, here we go. That's lovely.
We kept scoring, though. We kept
did
making
keep
baskets.
Scoring. We did keep scoring, and it was great to see. It was the emergence of Jalen Worley, and that was exciting. Of course, Matthew Cleveland had a good game. Cameron Fletcher had a good game. We talked about this. Noles fought to keep it close, and they were good offensively. They just didn't have anything for Duke. You get 70 points from a depleted roster for Florida State against the squad of NBA players for Duke right now. I think that's good news. That's really good news. And in particular, you and I wanted to highlight Jalen Worley's 15 points career high, obviously 6 of 10, 2 of 3 from beyond the arc, 1 of 2 from the free throw line. Also had 7 boards and 6 assists. So he had himself a game.
A lot of excellent passes, shows the vision, the basketball IQ, full steam ahead, pull-up jumpers, everything about the way that he operated shows that he can be the player that the recruiting services said he was. And clearly our staff thought he was going to be as well. This could be a huge moment for him, say 10 months from now, when we're looking at next year's team. We're saying, man, remember when Worley figured it out at Cameron Indoor? That was a big day.
Yeah. And Hamilton over the years has been very quick to point out that it's different for every freshman. You just don't know, no matter how talented, no matter how well thought of, some guys come in, acclimate quickly, show that they have the emotional and physical maturity to handle it. Others are just not even close to ready. On either one or the other, sometimes both. You think about when you were a freshman, the first time you were ever away from home, and everything falls on you. Now throw into the mix that you're practicing against guys that are bigger, stronger, faster, playing against bigger, stronger, faster, and you have the pressure of being a well thought of recruit. So you're expected to come in and inject life immediately, and it doesn't happen for you right away. Maybe you don't understand the defensive principles. Maybe you're struggling. It doesn't free you up to just play your game. I watch this a lot. Given that my kids aren't going to be, the kind of recruits that Jalen Worley is, I don't think. But when you get kids and you enter them into a sport for the first time and they play with other kids that have been playing it, it's funny to watch their heads spin. It's funny to see that look on their face, like, whoa, this is different, because they're not freed up to play the game. They're thinking the game. And I think Jalen Worley looked like a kid who was thinking about the game an awful lot for much of this season. And when your season is a wash, like this one is, all you're hoping for are signs that the light bulb goes off before the season ends, that there's just a measure of growth. And in a weird way, all of the injuries and the absences, whether they be for the season, in the case like Anthony Polite's not coming back, right? You know that. And I don't know, maybe we'll see Caleb Mills back. Maybe we won't. But, we got some guys that are out, and some permanently, and then Raekwon Evans misses a lot of time and all of that. And so you're kind of like, this might have freed him to just, there's no pressure. I mean, we're not going to win this game. You get it. Play ball, baby. Play ball. You have the green light. Go make plays.
And then in retrospect, when you look back on the circumstance by which you did that, it's Coach K's second to last home game. It's a really talented opponent, and you were able to do it on one of the most historic courts in the game. Yeah. So just for your own sake, when you get to the offseason, you can reflect on that and go, whoa, wait a minute.
Confidence changes everything about how people play, whatever sport it is that they're in. Just a simple belief in one's ability to accomplish and to execute. And I think maybe you're right. Maybe we see that more and more from Jalen Worley. Only a couple games left really to play here.
I was just going to say, sorry,
no,
it was just for the next point.
Yeah.
But I thought that Duke approached the game clearly pissed off about how we owned the paint last time. You could see that. There was an emphasis on that. A lot of action around the basket. And I know our defenses are down compared to that particular night.
Yeah.
But that doesn't change their motivation. You could tell that it was Coach K was challenging everything about what they were because of what we did on the offensive glass the first time around. In general, around the basket, they were a hell of a lot tougher and ready to go. They were ready to finish through harm or whatever.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, when you have what we were bringing with us on the plane from Tallahassee up there
Yeah.
against a motivated team like Duke. I'm glad that we paced them. We went with them for about 15, 16
Just got worn
minutes
down.
there.
Just got worn down.
Yeah.
And didn't have anything really left in that second half of the second half. Didn't really have anything. Elsewhere in the ACC, we are getting down to the nitty-gritty in college basketball, so it's worth noting there were 6 other ACC games played over the weekend. The best one was that Wake Notre Dame game. I don't know how much of that you saw, 79-74. They snapped the Irish's 5-game win streak. North Carolina picked up their first quad 1 win of the season. Can you believe that? First one, 65-57 over Virginia Tech in Blacksburg. That ended the Hokies' 6-game winning streak. Virginia won on the road against Miami, 74-71. You know, it's crazy. Now, you think about this. Miami, Tom, is 11-1 against the rest of the ACC, but 0-4 against Florida State University and Virginia. Can't beat Florida State, haven't beaten Florida State, haven't beaten Virginia, but 11-1 against everybody else. That's how good they've been.
They just don't want to see us in Brooklyn.
Well,
that's where we're going to get the Platinum Bohica.
They do want to see us in
Come
Brooklyn.
on, what if this group of backups and role players and young kids delivered the Bohica?
Well, delivering the Bohica with this group would truly be special. You would never see that as a possibility. That would be, I don't want to say it. I'll get myself in trouble.
The Brooklyn Bohica.
That'd be a Bohica to remember. I mean, as if they are all not memorable. This would be the most memorable way in the history of Platinum Bohicas to deliver.
Jalen Warley, 24, 11, and 7. Here it comes.
You guys got Bohica by Jalen Warley. My goodness. So Syracuse beat BC 76-56. Yeah, we play BC soon enough. I'm looking at these ACC standings, trying to decipher who's good, whether that be Ken Palm or the net or whatever it might be. Duke sits atop the ACC currently by 1 game over Notre Dame, who's 12-4. Miami's 11-5, 2 games back. North Carolina now 11-5 in the ACC. Pretty good at home, decent on the road. That team went from being sort of a bubbly type team to, I think, one that might get in. I will note, you think it stops there? The net has the ACC looking like this. Top to bottom, these are the net rankings. 12 for Duke, 57 for second place. Notre Dame is only a game out of first. 57th. Third place Miami is 65th in the net. North Carolina is 42nd. Wake's 40th. But then Virginia, who, as I've told you, has been really good in the second half of the season after starting so terribly, but they're 81st in the net. 81st. It's nuts. Oh, if you're wondering where we are, we're 98th in the net.
Hey, all right. That game with Duke brought us back to the double digits.
Good to see.
So we're better than Bradley now?
I got to go back and look and see if we're better than Bradley. I don't know if Bradley picked up a big win over the weekend, Tom. They may have. I don't know. On the diamond, to recap, Florida State was really good. Everything I wanted to see in terms of competitive at-bats. So offensively, a lot of competitive at-bats, a lot of smart at-bats, a lot of bat-to-ball contact. That's all good. After last year, this is what we wanted to see. We're going to put the ball in play more often. If you look at contact rate, you look at hard hit, there was a lot of that. How about how far they've come? I didn't go to Hauser for all 3 games, but you can watch all these games, of course, now on the ACC network, or you watch the ESPN Plus or ESPN3. And Tom, I must tell you, in terms of the graphics and the information, it's trickled down from MLB all the way down to college baseball now. Exit velocity is a thing that they have there now. Some of the more, non-traditional statistics that have been used by most of us for a long time that broadcasts were slow to embrace. They're now used beyond just traditional batting average, home runs, RBIs. You see a lot more important things. It's not the end of the world. The camera angles aren't bad. The replay is not bad. It's not a terrible product.
Okay, can I say something too that you're probably going to wince at? The padding helps. I like it. The guarded padding, it makes the ballpark look
so
nicer.
much better. It does.
It does. With just the white logos of the sponsors out
cosmetic.
there.
It's cosmetic.
But
It doesn't help the fact that the place is a dump. But you're right. It does. Lipstick on a pig work this time.
It's much better than the green. I can't believe we've been green for that long.
I can't either. When I walked in and saw it, I went, "Oh, that is strikingly better." I'm not going to mention that, but it is. I too was moved by that. I was like, okay,
I see what you're doing here.
Good job there. Good job. Now go sop up the puddles. But there you go. Good job. I may have not just like that would have been pretty terrible walk in. That's very impressive. And then to see somebody tasked with keeping the place clean. Hey, can you just sop up the puddles? Good looking out on the padding. I just like saying the phrase "sop up the puddles."
Unless they want to be Sisyphus with the puddles,
Mm.
you're never done.
It never
They
ends.
just keep coming back somehow, some way. Life finds a way. So do the puddles at Hauser.
But no, we can really pitch, and we were told all off season, man, wait till you see the arms Florida State has. They got a ton of them. It's crazy. It's not just the frontline starters, although I will contend, and we'll see much better teams than JMU this year. But I will contend that is electrifying stuff. And I know that even the Sunday starter has good stuff too. We're supposed to see Carson Montgomery on Tuesday, but we'll see. He's got a bad heel. But Ross Dunn, who pitched yesterday, a lot of people told me before the season, Ross Dunn's stuff may not be Hubbard stuff, but it's close, that he's really a little bit more in control. He looked completely out of sorts. He looked like a guy that was feeling the weight of the magnitude of being a weekend starter at Hauser in front of a lot of fans with expectations on the heels of those two starts, Messick and Hubbard. It's gotta feel overwhelming to try to keep up with something that resembles what they did on Friday and Saturday. But my larger point is they have a lot of options. They've got a lot of options. And, what Sunday allowed for, because we used 7 different pitchers, I believe it was, in that game, is it allowed you to get a look at all those guys. And you already knew about several of them because they've been here and they've been doing it, but there were a few others that you hadn't really seen. And it's an abundance of riches. All of the conversation about the amount of arms that Florida State has to throw at a problem, I think that's going to be accurate. And if you go back to the interview I did with Meade, he seemed willing to admit to that, to wanting to get better in other areas. He didn't seem too worried about pitching, and he's a guy that worries about everything.
Well, it was also good to see he teased it on Thursday's interview, technically, about going to Scolaro for a high leverage situation.
Yep.
And to be used in the 7th inning over the weekend,
Mm-hmm.
get a big out as the lineup is turning over. Okay. You could see the shifting too. Like we are now not going to get cheated.
All over
We're not going to get cheated out of a game because we didn't try to do something instead of letting things happen to us. That's good. You want to take that active approach because that permeates everything you do, whether it's a 2-0 pitch or it's give it everything you got for, give me 60 pitches tonight. Everything that you have for 60, because we'll go get somebody else in the bullpen.
Yeah, we can. We'll go get somebody.
Attack. Be the attacker.
Hey, so just so you know, there was one stretch of baseball, really happened in both Saturday and Sunday, but yesterday it was brought up, and I wasn't at Hauser yesterday. I watched it from the house. I have to tell you, there is a stretch of 4 out of 5 hitters that swing on the first pitch fastball. So this misnomer about working, at bats to the detriment of the offense, where we prized walks more than we did hard hit baseballs. That was never Meade's intention. It was never his thing. Like, yes, we wanted to be patient. Yes, we wanted to work the count. Yes, but if he had guys that were good contact guys, good bat to ball guys, he wants you to hunt the fastball in your area. If you get it, you better swing. If you take that, I'll pull you. I'll get somebody else who will swing because, again, we all know that game is all centered around making contact with fastballs. I mean, you don't want to be dealing with nasty sliders and curveballs and changeups.
It's aggressive in your count and aggressive in your zone.
Mm-hmm.
And everybody's got a different one.
Right.
But if it's in your zone
and it's a fastball,
go.
hit it.
Yeah.
So I guess my point would be there was a stretch. Again, 4 out of 5 hitters swung at the first pitch fastball. I was like, whoa. For all the talk that you're going to want to work counts over the years, right? You would never have back-to-back-to-back guys swing at the first pitch if the first 2 made outs. Now, one of them got a hit, so it didn't really matter. But I'm just saying, yeah. But I'm just saying, I mean, I'm like, okay, there it is. There's an indicator that if it's in your zone, fastball, you better swing it. It's ingrained. Softball team, mentioned them too. They're great. Again, 10-0. That sport has come an awful long way. I love watching it. I watch the most of the games, or a good chunk of all of the games that Florida State played in over the weekend down in St. Pete Clearwater. and even went back for parts I missed to see highlights because this team is fun to watch, and they remain undefeated. They beat 5 ranked teams, knock out UCLA yesterday to win it in extra innings. Exciting game. This is a fun team.
Yeah, the top of the lineup did nothing last night against UCLA. You still come out with a victory. I thought the game was pretty much fair the way the result was because we've got a drop in center field.
Yeah.
I mean, it scores 2.
Yeah, that hurts your
changes
feelings.
the scoreboard. Then there's an excuse me single that brings home 2 for us. You go to extras, and they play basically the MLB rule in this tournament. I don't know if that international rule is for the entirety of the regular season. We'll have to see. But they talked about it at length last night, the international rule, which is runner starts on second
base.
You get out of it, though. Sander Cock does a great job of getting out of it.
Does a good job, and bases were loaded.
Well, and also taking your time. That was actually a really alert point last night is that when you get into a rhythm about quick pitching somebody or just get your sign and go, you can be anticipated. Your timing can be anticipated, and so can sequencing. And she took her time. It was a little bit like Steve Traxel, human rain delay.
Human rain delay, baby.
Parts last night. It was a little bit more MLB than I liked, but it was because both are high-quality teams taking that game very, very seriously. And when it comes down to super seeding later in the year about national seeds, tiebreakers, I think St. Pete Clearwater is going to matter a lot for the Noles in that regard.
Yeah, good to see us taking care of business. And, again, entertaining product always, and talented group will only get better. You mentioned their youth. They're only going to get better as this experience grows. This is
Kayla Edenfield, man. That is the name.
It's a year in, year out thing now with softball where I treat them like I do soccer. I just assume, names might change in certain areas, and we're going to plug and play different people, and you'll have to kind of familiarize yourself with them. But you can assume that the player that is replacing the other player is a really good player just because they just reload over and over and over and over again. It's like all those years for football where in the 90s where it was kind of like, oh, you lose this guy, you lose that guy. Yeah, but we're bringing in maybe better. It's constant. So we're not quite Oklahoma in the way that they recruit. Ridiculous. But we're a team that is going to be of significance, going to be ranked highly, is going to have high expectations, and is going to meet them by and large for the most, this season. It'll be a top 5 Florida State.
Well, if they don't win, it's that's their fault. They've really choked every year.
Oh, you're talking about OU?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, lately. Yeah.
They're recruiting like Gino did at UConn.
It's dumb.
But here we come. We've got a lot of skill in a lot of places. Enough mix of veteran and youthful skill. That lineup is way deeper this year. You saw the numbers.
Mm-hmm.
Last year, we had to be a defensive club. We were hitting 280 as a squad. Much, much better this year. A lot more power. There's variety in what we've got, and the arms are good too.
You're going to watch Florida State at Boston College, 7 o'clock at the Silvio Conti Forum in Chestnut Hills, Massachusetts.
I had no idea what Conti's first name was, but Silvio probably would have been in my first 5 guesses.
Silvio Conti. At the Silvio O. Conti is what that is, actually, by the way. Did you know that?
Not for nothing, T, but, it was kind of a tough week.
Not for nothing.
You might want to give him a break.
It's the Jeff Cameron Show, 93.3. Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV.
When you are approaching retirement, there are a lot of questions to answer. Do you have enough money to fund your income for life? How should you claim Social Security? And what's your plan for health care and long-term care? Pete Tyson and Preservation Financial Group are here to help you preserve your retirement. The team at Preservation Financial Group can help you get organized, guide you through critical retirement decisions, and create a comprehensive income plan designed around your needs. Don't leave your retirement to chance. It's crucial to understand and address relevant risk before you retire. To schedule a free, no-obligation consultation, reach out to Pete Tyson and Preservation Financial Group today. 850-523-6118. That's 850-523-6118. Or visit them online at preservationfinancialgroup.com.
When some slithery, slimy something shows up uninvited in my home, I want it gone now. Not next Tuesday, not tomorrow. Today. Pretty sure I'm not sleeping knowing that thing is crawling around in my house. That's why I call Paul's Termite and Pest Control. Here in Tallahassee, Paul's guarantees same-day service if I call before 1. Ants, roaches, mice, wasps, fleas, whatever it is, Paul's responds with guaranteed same-day service. Pretty sure I've never heard that from any other pest company. Guess that's an advantage to being a locally owned and operated company like Paul's Termite and Pest Control. They're here and make things happen fast.
We at Paul's know when you have some pest or rodent in your home, you want it out now. That's why in Tallahassee, we guarantee same-day service. You call us before 1, we'll be there before 5, guaranteed. That's our commitment to you. The health and protection of North Florida friends and neighbors is the reason we love our jobs.
For the elimination of termites or any other pests.
And a greener lawn, too.
Call Paul's. We'll get them all. Learn more at callpauls.com.
Our friends at ISF work hard to help their clients solve the future. ISF is an integrated IT and management consulting firm located right here in Tallahassee, serving clients all across the country. With the new year upon us, ISF reminds you to create a clear strategy, optimize your process, and modernize your technology to meet all your goals in 2022. For more information, visit ISF.com. That's ISF.com. ISF, solving the future.
Economists have predicted that 10% inflation is baked into our economy for the next several years. But who knows? In uncertain times, there's still one certainty. Precious metals like gold and silver hold their value. So maybe it's time you called America's trusted precious metals authority, the Elite Bullion Investment Group, at 941-230-GOLD. 941-230-GOLD. Gold. The Elite Bullion Investment Group specializes in physical gold and silver, everything from coins to bars, real physical precious metals, assets you'll hold in your hands. Call Elite Bullion Investment Group for a free precious metals investment analysis. Ask about a gold IRA. Call 941-230-GOLD. Check them out online at ebigusa.com. Protect yourself. Call the Elite Bullion Investment Group, 941-230-GOLD. The Elite Bullion Investment Group, 941-230-GOLD.
We all want more energy, more strength, more results. Well, welcome to Orange Theory Fitness as you take a step towards feeling more alive today. Backed by science, Orange Theory's heart rate monitored workout is scientifically designed to keep heart rates in a target zone, spiking metabolism and increasing energy. Orange Theory Fitness is a one-of-a-kind group personal training workout resulting in more energy, visible toning, and extra calorie burn for up to 36 hours. Experience a more vibrant life today with Orange Theory Fitness. To find out more, go to orangetheoryfitness.com.
Jeff Cameron Show is a production of the Warchant.com Multimedia Network. Check out Warchant.com today for the latest news inside Florida State athletics. That's Warchant.com. Now, back to Jeff on Real Talk 93.3.
President's Day. I have a big to-do.
I had to wedge in the show here today. The schedule is just loaded.
Yeah, so much this morning. I was like, guys, I'd love to stay and embrace President's Day, but I got to get to work. I'll be back in a couple of hours. We can rekindle the celebration.
Well, I've got 4 stops to make before 8 p.m. And then who knows after that? It could get wild.
Well, that's why you got to Uber.
Thankful tomorrow's a headlines day.
Things get wild on President's Day. Get a little loose. Gonna do some grilling.
I'll grill everything.
We're gonna bring in.
When do we have our 50th one? I'm like, what a day! We've now had 50.
Here we
50
go.
presidents.
Here we go.
Unbelievable.
It is. There are variants of President's Day. Anyhow, it's not as big as when we do the return emails on Flag Day.
That's right.
Those are big days, buddy.
Big
Gotta
day.
sit down and
raise that flag.
Lock it in.
Full mast.
Here we go. It's time to reply to some emails that are sitting in the coffers for the last 6 years. Good.
Did you save some from years ago?
I did.
Good.
I got back to a lot of them that were old. Some people expressed shock.
What year are we in right now in your replies? Like 2015, 2016?
Yeah, 2016, 2017, something like that. Had some people that are like, well, I didn't expect to come into the office and get this email. Forgot what I was asking you. Something to do with the Red Sox? Yeah, we did. Ira Shafel, Warchant.com, joins us as he's wont to do on Mondays, even President's Day. And he does right now. Hello, Ira.
How's it going, Jeff?
It's going well, brother. Doing really well. So I'm really excited. We knew the softball team was awesome, and they are every year. I feel like Lonnie's got it rolling the same way that the soccer team does. So it's not surprising to watch them go down to St. Pete Clearwater, kick ass, beat a bunch of ranked teams, and remain undefeated. But I've been really pumped to see the arms on the baseball diamond, and they lived up to it over the weekend. That team, and we'll see, they'll be playing better competition. I think they got a chance to be really, really good. What were your impressions?
Yeah, I mean, I'm in the same boat. I mean, I was more optimistic coming into this season than I have been the last couple of seasons.
Yep.
And it was good to see them play that way. And I really like. I mean, I think one of the coolest things is just to hear the way Meat and some of the players talk about Terrell, the transfer from Miami, and just kind of how he's impacted the clubhouse. And I think that's really a big deal. It seemed like this team, man, part of it was COVID, a coaching change, and all that. And then last year, it just felt like this. It felt like there's been like kind of like a tension around that baseball program.
Correct.
And to hear kind of what he's brought to that locker room, just seeing the way the guys are acting and the way they're carrying themselves. Like you said, it's just James Madison. We'll see when they play better competition. But I think that is as encouraging as anything. It looks like it's a group that wants to play together and is going to play hard together. And I don't know if we've seen that much the last couple of years.
I remember, so I did my interview with him as is customary before the start of the season this year. I promoted it, told everybody go to warchant.com to find it, go to Warchant TV to watch it. But he was very comfortable when we talked. He usually is. I've known him for 20 plus years, but he had talked a couple of years ago about wanting, when he took over, to put his stamp on this team, if you will. And it had a lot to do with the edge he wanted them to play with, the passion, the tenacity, and aggressiveness. And he wanted them to be vocal, and he wanted them to play for each other and all of that. And you're right. We didn't see it. It might have been because of COVID. It might have been because there was tension and it took a while to name him as coach. And I think he certainly points out that affected recruiting. So he wasn't always able to get his guys in here that he wanted, and nothing against those that were here. But I think this feels like the first real year for him. I know it's not, but it feels like it's the first one because you can see his personality all over this team.
I think if you think about Mike Martin Jr. as a player, and as an assistant coach, I mean, he's got that personality. He's a fiery guy. He's an emotional guy. And, when you see the way that Parker Messick and Hubbard, the way they act on the mound, it feels like a Mike Martin Jr. coach team.
Yeah.
And that there will be games where other teams don't like him very much or don't like Florida State very much. But I think he's comfortable with that. I think that's what he wants to be. That's what he was as a player and assistant coach. And I think that's what he wants to do. Not to be disrespectful to people or to cause problems, but he's got an edge. He's always had an edge about him, and I think you see it in a lot of these players.
Well, so Messick strikes out 11 in 5 2/3, and then Hubbard comes out and is like, hold my beer, and strikes out 13 in 5 innings. And my favorite part is both of them are screaming at guys after every strikeout and telling them to sit down. And I'm thinking to myself, I would hate you. If I played against you, I would hate you. You're not eminently likable. I don't know either of those two young men personally, so this is not a judgment of their personality. The way they play is in your face, and it is very indicative of Mike Martin Jr. We are going to be hated in this conference, and I like it. And I think you are 100% right. He likes it too. He wants a bunch of red asses that are going to fight for all 27 outs and get after it, play a little edgy, tell you about it. But they have talent to back up those actions, I believe. Those guys know it.
I thought, one other cool thing that was kind of interesting when we talked to him a couple weeks ago before the season, it might have been the start of preseason practice, and he was talking about, having one or two free swingers in the lineup and kind of liking that. He mentioned Quincy Neaporte, and he's like, obviously we all know Mike Martin Jr. has a very explicit way he likes to teach hitting, and it is not to necessarily go up there and be a bunch of free swingers, but I thought that it was cool that he mentioned he likes having one or two in the lineup, just to kind of give it some juice, and I think that's important as well. And I think, and again, I mean, I think we'll see how it all plays out over time. But I just like, I like the makeup of this team. It just seems like a team that's going to be, if you're a Florida State fan, it's going to be fun to root for. If you're on the other side of the
field, you're not going to like him
to root against. Yeah.
He said to me on Friday that he was going to play a ton of guys and that there were even a couple of guys, of course, that aren't available to them just yet that will work their way back into, obviously, the starting lineup and get starts. And he wasn't wrong. I mean, if you think about, I think it was the second game, Florida State had 16, 17 different guys get at bats. A lot of guys got ABs yesterday as well as in that first game, even though it was tight. So you're seeing Florida State play a lot of guys. He believes in the versatility of the roster.
Yeah, and I'm curious. I'm looking forward to the game tomorrow at Jacksonville, just to kind of see what the arms look like. Again, you're going to see how they handle these midweek games and who gets opportunities. And I think again, one of the things we're excited about to see what this coaching staff would do, and they just didn't have as many opportunities because they were in a lot of games. I don't know. They were in so many games that they had to claw their way out of the deficits. It seemed like last year. It seemed like a lot of the midweek games even they were kind of found themselves in really challenging situations. I'm looking forward to seeing how he manages it in a normal year where I think Florida State's going to be the better team in a lot of the games they play. Certainly midweek games and just kind of see how he uses that roster, how he uses that depth and develops it for the postseason, because you're going to need it whether you realize it or not.
Depleted on short rest, Florida State, Boston College. Before we get to it, really good to see Jalen Worley show up. And I don't mean that as a shot. He's a guy that's highly touted, looked a little bit over his head for much of the year, looked really comfortable in a place where it's hard to be comfortable. Had a great game. I thought he was sort of the highlight of that game, and I thought they showed real heart. It was a bounce back. I know it's not moral victories around here, but given that you're missing so many guys, I thought they played really hard, and I thought they played pretty damn well given the circumstances.
Yeah, and I watched Mike Krzyzewski's press conference after the game, and he talked a lot about what their approach was in that game. Once they realized Raekwon Evans wasn't going to play, they knew Florida State didn't have Caleb Mills and didn't have a bunch of guys in that perimeter, Anthony Polite and all these guys. So Duke's approach was to try to really turn Florida State over. They were going for a lot of steals. They were really aggressive on the perimeter, which they do anyway, but they kind of ramped it up. But what Jalen Worley did, Matthew Cleveland, and some of those guys really responded is they didn't get turned over, and in fact, they used Duke's aggressiveness against them and got to the basket, got either layups or kickouts, and played really well. I thought the first half of that game, other than that last 2 or 3 minutes, they're right there, and then they kind of give up that run right before halftime, which kind of I think sunk them a little bit. But then even the second half, when it looked like they might get blown out by 25 or 30, they fought back again. So that was really good. Now, obviously tonight, another quick turnaround. After that game, they had to fly to Boston College. They played tonight to make up a game, COVID, so that'll be tough. But, again, compared to a week earlier at North Carolina, it was a huge difference.
Brother, I always appreciate it. I'll talk to you tomorrow. Be well.
See you, Jeff.
All right, take care. Yeah, he's talking about that was a 20-8 run, and we were down 72-52, and I was thinking, woo.
Yeah, you combine that with
get ugly.
The final under 4 of the first half, and you're thinking, well, will they respond? They did. I mean, listen, Duke is also pulling off the gas, but it looked different than it did against North Carolina, which is all you can ask for, especially as depleted as they were.
Just so you know, by the way, Boston College, I know we're tired. We'll see what we do tonight. That's not a good team. They're 4-11 in the ACC. They are 9-16 overall. So if you're going to have a quick turnaround and make up a game, this kind of would be the team you'd want to play. I mean,
however, looking at some of our losses this season and where the opponent was in the ACC standings.
Yeah. I don't assume anything anymore, buddy. I really don't. It's Jeff Cameron, Show 93.3, Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV.
Your local news now.
A wrong-way driver collided with another vehicle on Thomasville Road in rural Leon County early Sunday morning, killing the other driver on US 319 near Iamonia Cutoff Road. Troopers say a 32-year-old Georgia man was driving south in the northbound lanes when he crashed head-on with an SUV driving north. The 34-year-old woman in the SUV died. The man suffered minor injuries. A long-lost piece of history has ended up right here in Tallahassee. A local business is auctioning off the bell that it was on Christopher Columbus's ship, the Santa Maria. The bell is more than 500 years old sold and worth an estimated $2.5 to $5 million. 2 shipwrecks later, it ended up at the bottom of the ocean off the coast of Portugal, where it stayed for about 400 years until it was discovered in 1994. The Belle will be auctioned on March 2nd at 9 a.m. at the auction house at 2500 Appalachia Parkway. Bidders can take part in the auction online and follow the bids via live stream. This is Rachel Lene with your Real Talk 93.3 local news update, brought to you by Macklemore Systems, Tallahassee's go-to Mac store. Check them out online at MacklemoreSystems.com.
This is meteorologist Paul Trombley with your Real Talk 93.3 weather update. Sunshine mixed with clouds at times this afternoon, with daytime highs approaching 76. Southerly winds 10 to 15 miles per hour. Lows level off around 57 tonight, mainly clear skies. Daytime highs approaching 80 tomorrow, mainly sunny. Dry with temperatures well above average Wednesday and Thursday, and highs in the low 80s. This report is brought to you by The Lawn Johns. For all your landscaping and lawn care needs, visit thelawnjohns.com. Right now, 74.
Highway 27 Grill and Barbecue just north of Havana have become your destination for the best food either side of the state line. But what if you want fresh seafood? Say no more. Kenny and the crew have got you covered with seafood so fresh, the only way you'll get it fresher is if you grow a set of gills. Highway 27 Grill and Barbecue, 1 mile north of the last light in Havana. Highway 27 Grill and Barbecue, open 7 days a week. Get your fill at the grill.
If you weren't the owner of Gordo's and all those wonderful restaurants, Eddie, what would you be doing?
You know, I think I'd want to be I don't know what I'd want to be, a boat captain or a cowboy.
You know how to use a lasso?
No.
You'd have to do that if you were a cowboy.
Yeah, but I've never even been on a horse. It's not my place to be on a horse.
I agree. And the horse thanks you. Gordo's, bringing the flavor and flair of Cuban food to Tallahassee since 1996.
Here's what you missed on the Greg Tish Show.
Chattanooga, Tennessee. Pastor Tabner was alone with a female church employee. She in a towel and he in his boxers. The charismatic 41-year-old Hurley explained the two of them had been making chili and gotten food on their plates. With the hot dogs that they were making, we are hoping that the pastor used the right condiments.
Think? There was at least one hot dog involved.
I don't know what you're talking about. We were just making chili dogs.
The Greg Tish Show, Monday through Friday, 6 to 9 a.m., only on Real Talk 93.3. The Jeffrey Show is a production of the Warchant.com Multimedia Network. Check out Warchant.com today for the latest news inside Florida State athletics. That's Warchant.com. Now, back to Jeff on Real Talk 93.3.
The winner, you need to give your money to the person who had.
Nope.
Yep, I'm just telling you. It was a ruling by the state of state racing stewards are the ones who came through with this ruling. Medina Spirit is dead, by the way, just so you know. Tested positive after the race last May for steroid use as well as beta-methasone. Remember we had this discussion? You know.
I do. Bob Baffert. Yeah.
Yeah. That piece of crap. Yeah. But we talked about this, but makes me sad.
It's like he and Phil are probably run the Saudi league.
You wonder, like, once Medina Spirit died, were they like, okay, we can take it from them. They don't know.
Right. Yeah. Like that. Like now it would make a difference.
Yeah. So by the way, that is just the second horse in the 146-year pompous history of horse racing to be disqualified for a banned substance. I would have thought there'd be more. They're all cheating. It's a little bit like cycling. And Hans.
How is it? Papa, Mama.
Yeah.
Fraunhofer.
Oh, that was always fun. That goes back old school. I don't know why I brought this up. We're towards the back end of the show, and it's President's Day. Just thought it could be a little looser.
Absolutely.
We've thoroughly
What's more American than the Kentucky Derby and taking steroids and such for horses?
We have thoroughly documented everything there is to document on the weekend that was, everything there was to talk about with softball, baseball.
It's
and of course,
exciting.
basketball. It is exciting. It's very exciting. And because they haven't been exciting. Baseball, let's just say it, Florida State baseball hasn't been exciting in a long time. They haven't, and I missed it. I expressed this concern years ago. I'm like, man, in addition to the fact that the average age at Hauser has turned into somewhere in the neighborhood of 78 to 84 years old.
And frankly, you need to replenish some of those fans because it's been that way for a while.
Yes. So in addition to that, our style of play hadn't really drawn me to the game. We felt stale. We just felt stale. That's a better way of saying it, because we weren't always bad, by the way. I mean, the irony is that during this stretch where we weren't consistently as good as our standard, we actually had some huge wins, and you and I were at perhaps the most exciting series road victory in the last 30 years for Florida State, winning that super regional at LSU, which was insane. That was one of the great moments.
It was stunning because we went up to Athens the week before and handled business there.
I beat that ass.
Yeah. But we had to go to Athens for a regional. That says it all about where we were that year.
We weren't a good team. We were a team that was a game above 500 through 30-plus games. It was bizarre. But they had enough talent and enough and enough fight to accomplish something that year. And so I did give them credit for that after being critical of how things had gotten stale here. But they're not stale now, man. Those guys can really play. And I don't want to get too far out over my skis here in praising them for a weekend series against an average program. It was less about what JMU was, less about the scores of the game, and more about the way they played and the electrifying stuff they have on the mound. I got a buddy, mutual friend of ours, diehard all things FSU, but just doesn't like college baseball. He's just not a college baseball guy. And I was texting him over the weekend. He actually went to a game, and I said, and he goes, listen, that's pro stuff out there on the hill. I'm like, yes, I've been trying to tell you this entire offseason that there are minimum 2, maybe 4 arms currently that project first 3 rounds for Florida State, and even higher. It may just be 4 arms in the first 2 rounds, but I mean, they're that kind of good. Well, if you tuned in, if you went to the game or watched the game on Friday, and you did it again on Saturday, before Sunday ever started, you had to have been really excited because that plays against anybody.
Yeah, it's the way they're wired. Like, I'm not ready to call them a top 5 team in the country or anything just yet.
I am, Tom.
I know you are. You want to be first on that line. I got you.
I'm saying I'm seeing things.
It's the way they're wired. Everybody looks to be on board, moving in the same direction, and they can do something about it too. So it's starting to flip, and that's great. But then there's also the burden of expectation in Tallahassee. That's the next thing. Well, for the kids, he knows all about it.
Yeah.
He knows nothing else. But you got to see it. You got to see him follow through on it. We were off to a great start. The odd thing is, in his era, which is brief, and the COVID season, we were going to be really good that year, I think we were going to be good that season. We were off to a good start. Everything, because we had that swagger. We didn't have it last year. This year, you got it again in across the lineup. But we're off to a great start against our rivals. All right, keep doing that, because now you've got Miami and Florida's attention. So keep doing that this year. Win some of these big series along the way.
Well,
and then play with the expectations. But we've been the chaser for a few years now in this program.
Correct.
We have not been the chase.
Well, and go back to what happened in the postseason a year ago, where it was really bizarre to look at Florida completely collapse, and there was all the stuff off the field that we were reading and hearing about.
Yeah.
It's still crazy and awful. So I don't really particularly want to talk about it because it's just awful. It involves death and all kinds of terrible things. But the point is, we felt like a stepbrother to Florida recently, and
rightly so.
It hurt, and especially given what our program has been, and so it was just devastating to think about that. And now I'm not worried about Florida. I'm not worried about them. They feel like they've fallen off a cliff, like rapidly.
Let's just kick them further down.
Right in the face,
lapel down, and kick them some more,
over and over. But I'm not worried about them. I'm more worried about some other schools in the SEC that we may end up being matched up with. I'm worried about the money. I'm worried about the lack of investment. But I'm not worried about the quality of recruiting and the mentality and the coaching. I'm not worried about that. I'm just worried that we're getting buried in some areas that are off the field that will eventually come back to haunt us. But right now, no, what he's been able to recruit and what he's got in the way of arms and attitude and everything, they're going to be good. They're going to be good this year. How good is what we're going to monitor as we go through the season. And look, it's baseball. You're going to have stretches where you play poorly. Like people, they apply a football mentality a lot of times to baseball, and you can't do that. you can have games where you just, guy doesn't have it on the mound that day or whatever, you lose a baseball game.
But you guys ended on this in your interview, you and Meat did, where we want to make Hauser a place to be again on the weekends.
Mhm.
And that's what gets me excited about this is already Joanne Graff Field has been, especially when you get to the end of the season and regionals and super regionals. It's electric over there, but now it's creeping into the regular season as season tickets are selling out, things like that, where you have an atmosphere that's being built. That is an organic program that's building right before our eyes. It has already gotten to elite status, but the whole, like the crowd following it, the city following it, and that's all new. That's great as it's being established. Baseball has been around, but it's been dormant for the last few years, but it seems like it's coming back. So
waking it up, baby.
Just as well, yes, I think you might have some friends call you to say, hey, can we go to the baseball game if I come up this weekend or I come down from wherever I live? We're starting to get to that place again. Just as a person in this town, I want to have more things to do, exciting things to do.
And reasons to do them.
Right.
Yeah, beyond, you could have gone last year, but
right.
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah,
You try to get the wife out of the house
Yeah.
or whoever and say, hey, do you want to go to the ballpark? You're like, yeah, maybe next week. You know what? Let's do that next week. And then next week never comes. Well, it's going to be a hot ticket again. Good. I'm glad for these programs. They need to make that money and get their status back so that we get better and better as an athletic department in these particular sports.
And we're going to have some fun picking some wagers in mere moments. We'll do it next on the Jeff Cameron Show, 93.3 Real Talk Radio and Warchant TV.
Were you sold a lifetime of dream vacations only to get stuck in a timeshare with a lifetime of rising fees, point scams, and lies?
I was completely taken advantage of.
They stole from us. They were thieves.
Chuck McDowell, CEO of Wesley Financial Group, has been fighting and winning battles with timeshare companies for over a decade, canceling over 16,000 timeshares, resulting in $257 million of timeshare debt eliminated.
I believe that it's my job and my duty to help people out of their timeshare if they've been lied to and they've been done wrong.
If it wasn't for Wesley, I would be broke.
Wesley Financial Group has thousands of verified reviews, averaging 4.9 and 5 stars for a reason. They get results.
I guarantee if we take you as a client, we will cancel your timeshare or you'll pay nothing.
For your free consultation and information kit, call now. 800-969-5511. 800-969-5511. That's 800-969-5511.
Hi, I'm Jeff, founder of Which Superior Sandwiches, and I'm here to tell you about our signature witch, the Wicked. Why call it the Wicked? Some say it's wicked tasty, some say it's wicked large. One thing's for sure, with oven-roasted turkey, ham, pepperoni, roast beef, and bacon, as well as your choice of 3 cheeses, it definitely takes you from wicked hungry to wicked happy in just a few wicked good bites, only at Which Superior Sandwiches.
On Wednesday, the Wicked is just $5. 5 meats, 3 cheeses, $5.
Well, so far this month has already been a long, cold year, but nothing breaks up the cold like a cozy, warm fireplace in your home from Hearth and Patio. You may not know this, but many of today's modern, environmentally friendly indoor fireplace designs offer amazing energy efficiency. And when you get a new fireplace installed by Hearth and Patio, they will also service the equipment to make sure it lasts for years to come. Something else you may not know, Hearth and Patio can also repair your existing fireplace. I'm going to read you a recent review from a real customer. Donna says, our gas fireplace stopped working at a time when we experienced our coldest weather. I called other companies, but the earliest they could send someone out was 10 days. Then I called Hearth and Patio, and they had a technician at my house the next day. He not only was friendly, he fixed the problem and never tried to sell me something I did not need. It was so refreshing. I would not hesitate to call Hearth and Patio again. So the moral of the story is, when you need a fireplace repaired, replaced, or installed, just call Hearth and Patio at 727-4282 or find them online at hearthpatiotallahassee.com.
Live and living color and totally free. Subscribe to Warchant TV on YouTube, the digital home of Warchant.com. From the practice field to pregame and the phone calls afterwards, Warchant's YouTube channel is home to live programming like Seminole Headlines, Wake Up Warchant, The Jeff Cameron Show, as well as Trench Talk, a live Q&A with Noles offensive lineman Devontae Love-Taylor. Just search Warchant on YouTube and click or tap the subscribe button. That's it. It's totally free. Warchant TV on YouTube. Just another reason we're the ultimate Seminole sports source.
The Cameron Show is a production of the Warchant.com Multimedia Network. Check out Warchant.com today for the latest news inside Florida State athletics. That's Warchant.com. Now, back to Jeff on Real Talk 93.3.
That's why I thought there's no way there can't be anything but the instrumental to get to the point. Wrong.
He was about to say no need for a cameo, and then you cut it off, buddy. It's all right. We could have just listened to that whole.
Are you going to ever sign up and do a cameo service for people?
I can.
A couple of bucks to wish people a happy birthday and happy Libations Friday.
I can. I don't know that anybody would do it, and I don't know how to do it. What do you? I mean, I know how to say hello and happy birthday to people. I've done that before. I've had those requests come in via email.
There's this random guy that we use in my golf league that costs $1, and he, anytime somebody wins a tournament, and he just has a cigar and he tells you, "Hey, congratulations!
Yeah,
you won the tournament."
That's good. Time for our friends at North Florida Payroll Services to be acknowledged. Doffing of the cap. Locally owned for nearly 15 years, offering payroll and HR services, including full online applicant onboarding and integration into payroll. Save your company money and headaches today. Head to northfloridapayroll.com.
Hey, Big Daddy, having some Red Russians tonight?
We'll know in about 47 seconds.
To an open wing. It's picked up by Dowdy, an empty net. He scores.
Hot damn. Big Daddy's done it again. Red Russians all around, Teddy.
All right, Big Daddy.
I don't really know today. I don't have a ton. I kind of want to. I want to money line or puck line some teams tonight. I want to puck line the Avalanche at plus 145 against the Bruins.
It's too late. They got a President's Day 105 puck drop there.
Who won? Would I have won the bet? No?
No, it says Matthew. I haven't seen
Glad I didn't do it. Maybe I want a Hurricanes puck line the Flyers. Too late?
That starts in 5 minutes.
I can do it.
If you jump it.
You want to do that?
If you're going to puck line anybody today, it's going to be Carolina. Then for folks out there, that's minus 1.5. It's for the empty net. That's why the puck line is always 1.5. Protects against the empty netter.
Well, yeah, that's tough. Okay. All right.
That's why it's a tough bet, but Philly's bad. Carolina's really good, so I could see why you would play that. Winnipeg and Calgary is a good game. That's coming up in about an hour. I'm not saying it's a good game for you to tune into.
Flames puck line, baby.
No.
I'm going to Flames puck line against the Jets.
You could. Winnipeg's no good.
I know.
Calgary's given up a league low 113 goals this year. Trust me, that's
the
really
kind of
good.
Info you get right here, baby.
But that's why I like the under. It's not at 5.5. It's at 6 right now. I feel like that's a half goal too high. Take your push and move on. Lose the juice if you do so. But I think it's going to go under. Nice little 3-1, 4-1 little final score there. So under Winnipeg and Calgary.
I'm going to go find a parlay. I'm going to be like, look here, man. I'm taking Middle Tennessee and Loyola Chicago on the money line parlay, everybody.
Excuse me, friendly bookie. Do you have any President's Day parlay specials?
Have some parlays laying around? I like that Middle Tennessee plus Loyola Chicago parlay. Plus, no, it's not plus money. It's minus one. I just did it. It's minus 120. I don't know. It's President's Day. I didn't have my gambling hat on when I came to work today. There was nothing really that I wanted to. I bet all my money over the weekend on the golf and did well.
All of your money?
Well, no, I didn't.
Oh my God.
But I did well on the golf. I loved it. Good to see Joaquin Neiman get his second win on tour at the tender age of 23. He's got a gazillion top 10s. He's a good player, man. I actually saw him when he was just a whippersnapper at the Masters because he won the Latin whatever. And he got a chance. I can't remember the name of the tournament. I'm not being disrespectful. But amateur, that's what he won. And so he got I got to see him, and he's good.
It was interesting behind the scenes, a conversation that probably most people wouldn't care about at all. But we were talking about the way that you strike through the ball and how Neiman is similar to Sergio Garcia. Well, wouldn't you know it? Later in the day, Sergio is his mentor
with his dyed hair. What's going on there, Serge? We're gonna have to stop that nonsense now. Out here looking like an idiot. Don't do that. Somebody's got to pull him aside. It's obvious. You're not fooling anybody.
It's Andalusian brown. How could they see it?
That bothered me. I was like, ooh, what are we doing? No, don't do that, Serge. Come on now.
Serge, just play the under in Winnipeg, Calgary. Get some money and find Le Batard and Tom Brady's people.
Oh, that's good. Good work out of you, sir. Thank you, Matthew. And be well, everybody. Enjoy your President's Day. Do so safely. We'll talk to you tomorrow.